David, are we on the air? We're on the air. Does everybody know we stream to the entire galaxy? Every service? Sometimes people write us from the website, do you stream the services? Even though the place to ask me that from our little hiatus, we have another one next week. Oh, yeah. Yep, indeed. And then on the following Friday night, where I promised to talk about the rise of anti-Semitism on the left, I will not be speaking about the rise of anti-Semitism on the left, not because we cured it all, but because I'm working on it a little bit, and I'm going to be out of town next week. So instead, we're going to do something that week, which will be January the 19th, I believe, about changing our minds. So bring a story with you, if you will, about something big that you changed your mind about at some point in your life. And I'll talk about its importance to humanism. I'll share with you a written symposium, changing our minds, and different rabbis from every kind of possible movement reflecting on that. And then we'll open up the house mic to anybody who wants to share. So that'll be on the 19th. On the 26th, though, please make a note of it. Now. No, I'm kidding. It'll be in the newsletter to remind you. We're going to have under at least my term here, our very first Tu B'Shvat Seder and dinner. So there will be no Shabbat service that night, the 26th of January. It'll be a small donation, but it'll be a delicious dinner that will consist of many of the foods that we're going to use in this Seder. I've always been a little bit hesitant about doing a Tu B'Shvat Seder because it originated in the very mystical, Kabbalistic quarters of our community and culture. But other humanistic synagogues have figured it out, so I'm going to do it too. So we'll do that. We will, I hope, be joined by all of our Spinoza families, because it's one of our Spinoza programs. And we'll have some fun with music afterwards too. Maybe not quite the long sing-along we did, but a little bit, because I know Tom likes to get up there and do the dancing. So anyway, tonight our readers are Kathy Radner, Karen Strickhartz, Mark Lipson, Janice Young, Roberta Slade, and Lonnie Fleischer. And after we read our first slide, I'm going to invite the Hillenbergs to light the candles. And this is in honor of the fact that as you will go through the service with me tonight, you'll see a brand new reading that Bruce, who is, I think, a really good liturgist, and I say that with humility, just wonderful, that Bruce wrote for us tonight, a little responsive reading. So let's begin on the first slide, Arthur. As these Shabbat candles that we are about to light give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations who have sparked light, so may we in our own day be among those who spark light.
May these moments of Shabbat rest, renewal, and contemplation inspire us to open our hearts and minds to inspiring and comforting each other. May all who struggle find rest. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day.
And may every one of us
Inspired to fulfill its promise.
Lahunaranana, 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 la Shabbat. Lahunaranana, 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 la Shabbat. Nariya, nariya, leyom simchatenu, nikadma b'shalom. Nariya, nariya, yom simchatenu, bizmirot nariya lo. Lahunaranana, 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 la Shabbat. Lahunaranana, 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 la Shabbat.
The choices we make. Each day, moment, second, and millisecond, we make choices. These choices expand our existence as humanistic Jews. We choose to know, understand, and appreciate the value of each breath, each moment. To lean into this succession of moments to find meaning and the courage to grow. We grow through our ability to remember, accept reality as it exists, and think and act creatively. And we choose to conserve our thoughts to those that foster wisdom and reduce suffering.
our courage
Is to know those moments should not be wasted. But if they are, we smile in the mirror and push ahead with grit. The journey of thousands of years have led to today, this moment. Our ancestors persevered for this, so we dream big. We love compassionately. We embrace authenticity. We stand broadly and fill our spot in the world with humility and passion.
proudly
We sustain our commitment to a humanistic way of life. Our ancestors would be proud as we travel towards the unknown future.
holding a light in the darkness on the
Path to a better world. These are choices we make every day.
Eifori oribi, eifo tikvati, tikvatibi, eifo kochi, kochibi, vegambat, vegambat, eifo kochi, kochibi, Vegambach, Vegambach, where is my light? My light is in me. Where is my hope? My hope is in me. Where is my strength? My strength is in me. And in you. And in you. Where is my strength? My strength is in me, and in you, and in you.
When justice burns within us like a flaming fire, when love evokes willing sacrifice from us, when, to the last full measure of selfless devotion, we demonstrate our belief in the ultimate triumph of truth and righteousness, then goodness encompasses our lives and we can begin to change the world.
Ni lanu sharet tzedek chen v'chesed v'rachamim niftach lanu sharet tzedek chen v'chesed v'rachamim.
The transforming power of love, the redeeming power of compassion, the healing power of forgiveness, these endure in every age. The joy which comes from sharing, the strength which comes from striving, the nourishment which comes from nature, these endure in every age. The sanctity of life, the value of truth, the primacy of justice, these endure in every age. Amidst never-ending change, may we have the wisdom to identify and embrace what matters in all times.
Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed. Al hadin va'al emet va'al hashalom. Al hadin va'al emet va'al hashalom. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam
Sing the song of people joined in understanding and respect, the song of life's wonders, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravaged by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. May it be so.
I gave you the Debbie Friedman one.
What's that?
I gave you the Debbie Friedman one if you want to do that one.
Sorry.
That's okay. I know you'll like that one.
Nase
Shalom ba'olam, na'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol ha'olam ve'immeru shalom. Na'aseh shalom ba'olam, na'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol ha'olam I've been wanting to do that for years. You know, we've been doing it since Rosh Hashanah, and it took Joseph to adapt that because the words of the traditional prayer don't quite fit Debbie Friedman, but now they do.
Now they do.
And I really love it. Thank you. In this community where we find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts toward all those who need our love and support. Those who are ill, those who suffer pain of the body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. Tonight, we extend our well wishes to these members of our community and to their loved ones, to Nitzan Bengal, Jim Walker, and Kate Ben-Ami. And I invite those of you who are thinking of someone to share their names. We'll start on this side of the room. Anybody over here? No, nobody here? Esther? We miss anybody else on this side? Over here, Mark? Jerry Burke. Thank you. Oh, really? Yes, Jason. Thank you. Anybody else? We are there. May they be healed quickly. May they experience a complete recovery, a refuah shlema, the renewal of their bodies and the renewal of their spirits. At darker times in Jewish history, there were moments such as this one during Jewish services when prayers were offered for those held hostage. To redeem captives was an essential mitzvah. Sadly, we once again find ourselves in such a reality. In the spirit of our ancestors who lived through those terrible days, we therefore voice these fervent hopes. May those taken captive find the courage to carry on. May those who love them not despair of their return. May they soon emerge from their confinement, whole in body and spirit, to know once again the embrace of loved ones.
Makom HaKoach betocheinu,
Mekorot habracha michevroteinu. May the source of strength that dwells so deep within us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Shalom. Mekom HaKoach betocheinu, Mekorot habracha michevroteinu. May those in need of healing know refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom all. Good crowd tonight. Happy to see you all. At times of loss, we search our hearts for the perfect words to give form to our feelings, make the thing complete, set the matters at rest. But in hours of searching, each piece lies rejected, too precise, too difficult, too harsh, not relevant, implying what we do not wish. But look into the gray, wide sky, and the thoughts will come like this. Remember me when I loved you most, and you loved me most. And when I did you right, then let that be our secret bond. And just once let us rise in the morning and enjoy the light, and know that the bird in the mist is returning to the sun.
Our thoughts turn to those who are no longer with us, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every people and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Tonight we are observing the art sites of those that were on the list from December 15th and those for tonight. We recall these members of our community and their loved ones: Rose Bowman, Lennon Gray Citron, Harry Cohen, Bernard Davis, Milda Dreyfus, Louis DeZoden, Edward Good, Jerry Grodsky, Janet Gusson, Jean Hirsch, Philip Kaplan, Eva Lang, Harold Levine, Philip Lowe, Naomi Mandelbaum, Sylvia Michnick, Hai Muroff, Gertrude Oberstein, Sylvia Paul, Milton Barnett, Emily Bonet, Lawrence Bowman, Margaret Dennenberg, Robert Kern, Max Kravitz, Milton Landau, Alan Lieb, Geraldine Linden, Abraham Michnick, Marilyn Muroff, John Scala, Ruth Adler Schnee, Marvin Sharon, Michael E. Spenny, Murray Spillman, and Carolyn Ziegler. If there's someone whom you're remembering tonight who is not on our list, whose name you'd like to share. Okay. Sheila.
American hero, rich boy, Dr. Geister.
Thank you. Esther. Michael. Melanie. Kathy. We miss anybody on this side? Mark. Thank you. I saw another hand over here. Oh, in the back. Yes, Bill. And David, you had someone? Did we miss anyone at all? We say, Zecher Livracha, Zecher Yehi Zichram Livracha. And I should have mentioned, and that's why I got a little tongue-tied there for a moment, the loss of this week, Beverly Siegel. Yehi Zichram Livracha. May her memory be a blessing. And as we say that we will remember them and hope to find blessing in that memory, it's our wish that as we go through life in their absence, we'll feel at times a moment of their presence and feel once again blessed by them. If you can do so comfortably, please rise as together we recite our humanistic interpretation of Kaddish. Together, Nit Gadal v'nit Kadash beruach ha'adam. Let us dignify and ennoble all people in the spirit of our shared humanity. Let us acclaim the preciousness of life. Let us show gratitude for life by approaching it with reverence. Let us embrace the whole world, even as we wrestle with its parts. Let us each in our own way take up our share in serving the world and seeking truth. May our commitment to life help us to strengthen healing of spirit and peace of mind. May justice and peace permeate and comfort all those who dwell on earth, and let us say, Ken Yehi, may it be so. Please be seated. Before we continue with our presentation tonight, just a couple more words. I want to thank the Socrates group. Who here is with the Socrates group? I know Audrey, a few other people maybe. They've been online now since COVID. Maybe someday you'll get to go back in person, but well, maybe you don't want to, I don't know. Maybe it's more fun to yell at each other in your pajamas. But they sponsored tonight's Oneg Shabbat, and we're very grateful for that group to having done that. I also wanted to mention that though she's not here with us, she is, as I understand, in good health, and many times joins us, and I'm speaking of the inimitable Berta Gardone, who celebrated 99 years yesterday, and is the oldest active member, very, very active member of our congregation. So they usually watch us on YouTube, so we'll say happy birthday to you, Berta, and Mazel Tov to Jessica and the whole family as well. All right, I am actually going to turn the introduction duties over to our friend and longtime fellow congregant, Mark Lipson, who contacted me a few months ago about tonight's guest, and he'll introduce him, and then we'll, I think, have a very enlightening evening.
Okay, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. I've been a member of the congregation of Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara for 24 years. And actually, Bhante Sankicha, who's going to present tonight, we were just talking and kind of comparing notes. I actually predated him at Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara. He has been he's the head monk there, and he's been in the U.S. for 23 years. So I first got into Buddhism really because I was struggling. Our family was having some very serious medical issues, and my anxiety was just pretty much through the roof. So I decided that I needed to, I thought that learning how to meditate would be a good idea, and I went online and I did a little Google search, and I found Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara, which at that time was located, well, it's still in Southfield. At that time, they were in a little bungalow on Shiawassee. So I went there. I didn't really know much about Buddhism or anything, and I learned how to meditate. And I still meditate. I'm a daily meditator. I start most mornings with 45-minute meditation, and that's usually with a monk who I met at Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara, and he is the head monk at a temple in Ottawa, Canada. So when COVID hit, everything went online, and all the monks went online, and all the meditation classes went online as well. So meditation has just helped me enormously, and it has enabled me to create a space within myself that I can retreat to. Some people describe it as retreating to the island of the self. So I have a sanctuary, an internal sanctuary that I can put myself into, if you will. And it just helps me enormously. It just helps me in so many different ways. So I thought it would be a great idea to have Bhante come here and give a little talk on meditation. And he's going to start, I think, with a guided metta meditation, which is a loving kindness meditation. And he'll talk a little bit about Buddhism, do the meditation, and have some questions and answers and so forth. So I'm really honored to have him here. He's just a wonderful person. Bhante has a degree in counseling and is pretty sophisticated in American culture. And I'll have you come up and do your thing, Bhante.
Good evening, everyone. I'll say Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Wow. This is a great happiness for me to be here today with you all. First of all, I need to extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to my good friend, long-term friend, Mark, for having this occasion for me to share some wisdom with you all. And thank you very much, Rabbi Jeff, for letting us have this great opportunity with you all. So first of all, I would like to share some guided meditation with you all for a couple of minutes, just to relax your body and calm the mind. So let's take that opportunity. So you will sit comfortably. And to avoid any distractions, you may simply close your eyes gently. And feel the presence of yourself in this peaceful space. Feel the silence and the peace around you. And you may take a few deep inhalations and exhalations, some long, mindful and gentle breaths, releasing any tension and negative energies from the body. And experiencing each breath throughout the body, you may bring your total attention to your psychophysical entity and relax. Now, feeling your entire body with the mind, being very friendly to yourself, being very kind and gentle to yourself. You may wish yourself and bless yourself from the bottom of your heart. Feeling the love in the center of your heart. Repeating these loving, compassionate thoughts and phrases again and again. Feeling the love in the center of your heart. Letting these positive energies and vibrations resonate through each and every single part of the body. Healing yourself. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. Accepting yourself for being who you are and what you are. Being very thankful to this body for letting you experience this beautiful life and the world. Right from the birth up to this moment, this body All different organs are working so hard without taking any break, just to keep you alive. So feeling the deep sense of connectedness with yourself, with your body and mind. May I be well. May I be happy. May I be relaxed. May I be peaceful. As you experience and enjoy your own love and compassion, all these positive energies, let us share all these positive energies, our own love and compassion with all living beings in the world and in the universe, including all of us who are here now. Letting your love go to all beings in all directions, near or distant, seen, unseen, small or mighty. All living beings in the water, in the air, on the earth. All living beings who are suffering from pain, hunger and diseases. All living beings involved with natural disasters and wars. All living beings who are in peace and happiness. Letting your love go to all beings without any exception. Broadening your heart and broadening your mind. Wishing them, may all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be relaxed. May all beings be peaceful. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be relaxed. May all beings be peaceful. Now, turning back to yourself, you may take a few deep, mindful and gentle breaths again, refreshing your body and mind. And you may open your eyes. Okay. Thank you. Right, so my name is Theravadan Sankicha. My friends call me Sanki. I'm originally from Sri Lanka. I think you know Sri Lanka. Yes. I think this is the first time you have a Buddhist monk present in this congregation. Am I right? Yes. And this is my first experience too, as well, to meet a Jewish community, a religious group like this. So it's my great pleasure. So I'm from the Great Lakes Buddhist Vihara, our Buddhist temple, as Mark mentions, in Southfield. So I teach mindfulness meditation and provide spiritual counseling to different people, different friends. So it's my great pleasure to share what we practice, what we appreciate in our spiritual way of life. I think Buddhism is new to this group. Maybe I believe you know something about Buddhism so far. The Buddhism has a very common similarities, I would say, in what I already heard about the humanistic Jewish practice, which I really enjoy and appreciate, you know. In recent years, when I observe the world, when I watch news and what happens in the world, in society, there are some times actually I felt that we need to stop all the religions, all religious beliefs, and we go back to where we started all these things. Right? Because we can see how much suffering, how much negativity that whole world is experiencing because of these differences, belonging to different religions, different belief systems. So there I understood, before we practice anything, before we follow any spiritual direction even, we need to be real, true human beings first. Only then we should practice something extra, something beyond, you know. So this is what we all can commonly appreciate, value, and enjoy. Therefore, we all need to be true human beings first. So this is basically what we all appreciate as human beings. Commonly, we are looking for happiness in our life, in general. That's what we all want in our life. Why we do all these things in life? That is to be happy eventually. Every single person, even an animal, they all appreciate happiness. They all want to be peaceful. They all want to be secured. So as human beings, we have understood what we want to have in our life. Our common goals, if you think about, we all want to be happy in the first place. But that happiness is not one single thing. When you think about happiness in our life, it comes to us from many directions. From many directions. So therefore, first of all, we all want to be very healthy. The health is very important. We all understand that. regardless any discrimination, any difference. We all want to be happy, being healthy. Because we know we can possibly have everything in our life that we want to. But if we are not healthy enough, nothing can make us happy. We cannot simply enjoy any of these things. So, the health is very important to us. Health is the greatest wealth, therefore. It is taught in Buddhism. But that good health has two aspects, as we know: physical health and mental health. These two things work together, go hand in hand. We have to understand the interaction between the physical and mental health, this connection. That is very important. So this is something we all want to achieve and experience in our everyday life, to be healthy. And also, we all want to maintain healthy relationships. That is very important. We understand that we don't live alone. We always interact with others. The life has become so complex, complicated today, that we make these connections with so many things. So we cannot simply live alone. We cannot simply neglect other people, other conditions around us. We always interact with them. They affect us eventually. So when it comes to relationships, it's a very special part of our human experience. We all have relationships with parents, with children, siblings, the grandparents, friends, neighbors, and others, the country, the whole world, in the global level. So we always interact with them. So we all are connected. So it's a very important thing that we all want to maintain healthy relationships. It has not been the case always. Because we know how many people are suffering, not being able to have or maintain healthy relationships with others. Our happiness comes from maintaining healthy relationships. You can possibly have everything else in your life. But many people are living like in hells, not being able to maintain these healthy relationships with others. They are living in a lot of suffering, frustrations, and all these negativities. And at the same time, we all want to be very efficient in our life. Whatever we're supposed to do in our life. In order to achieve our goals in life, we all want to be very efficient, very active in life. So all these things are some different aspects of our overall happiness. So when we want to achieve these goals in life, we all know that it is not always easy. It is not comfortable because of some distractions. There are always distractions to distract us, disturb us, keep us away from achieving these goals or being happy overall, right? So we commonly understand, even though there are so many distractions, disturbances, negativities around us, mainly these distractions are coming from our emotions, our negative emotions. Eventually this is what we experience within ourselves. You may identify these distractions to be external, But what eventually disturbs you is that how emotional you get as you interact with these different situations, different people, you know. So we can commonly understand what keeps us away from being happy, peaceful, and relaxed is these negativities in our mind. We identify them as emotions. Emotions. So we have a better understanding about emotions today. What these emotions are, how they even occur to us, what is the mechanism of these emotions, where they exactly take place even, and what happens to you when you are emotional, how you react to them, how you respond to your emotions, and what is your mental and physical, emotional experience there. And not only that, the emotional intelligence addresses that we need to be aware, we need to be mindful about how others would react to your emotions. It is not only you, but how others would interact with you when you are emotional, and how my emotions would affect others, their well-being. That is very important part of the emotional intelligence. So this is directly come in line with our human values, our happiness. Okay. As human beings, when we have these negative emotions, only human beings can watch these emotions objectively. No other animals can watch their emotions or be mindful about their emotions. Only human beings can watch them objectively, or they can possibly separate themselves from the emotions, from these negativities. That's why we call human beings to be highly evolved level within all animals, all living beings, because of that ability. So we know that how human beings interact with the emotions and how animal would interact with their emotions. So as animals don't have that ability to watch their emotions, and even as they don't know how to rationalize their emotions, what they basically do is that they react to their emotions. They behave in terms of their emotions without any judgment, any analysis there. But as human beings, we have that advanced ability, our skill to watch our emotions and even to reflect on our emotions in terms of my behavior, my reaction to these emotions. What would be the outcome? What would be the consequence of my negative emotional reaction? So instead of reacting to these emotions, what we have as human beings is responding to our emotions. We mindfully, intellectually process these emotions. We basically understand this mechanism of our emotions. So human beings are very advanced in that today. It's very interesting, very important to understand. It has a physical component, mental component, as we can see. So they have pinpointed today where your emotions are taking place in your brain, the amygdala, right? The responsible part in your brain. So that is in the primitive brain. The amygdala is in your primitive brain. The job, the responsibility of this part of the brain has something to do with the evolution. Before we developed our brain, with this special part we call the frontal lobe. The prefrontal lobe, it was just the primitive brain with the basic purpose of life, which is to survive. To survive. When the primitive brain experiences these negative emotions, it sets you to these two responses, flight or fight behavior, just for the survival purpose, just to survive, to avoid the danger, right? And it is, if it is pleasant, soothing, enjoyable, you go for it. You go for it. So this is the basic need of that part of the brain, the primitive brain. But as we evolved, as a result of this evolutionary process, we developed this special part of our brain called the thinking brain. Thinking brain. So, as I studied psychology, the counseling psychology, I studied the brain and behavior subject, which was very interesting, very practical. So there I was able to make this special connection with the mindfulness practice. Mindfulness practice. It explains there are two signal pathways in your brain. With the primitive brain, with that initial level of the evolution, the first signal pathway is to take the route through this primitive brain through amygdala, which is the emotional brain. And as you get emotional, very complex thing happen to you, happen to your brain. And basically it takes you over completely. That's what we call the emotional hijack. When you are angry, your whole brain become angry. It completely takes that taste, that color, that quality into your brain. And what happens afterwards is that through the hormones, that experience carried out throughout the body, through the blood system. So we can see that. When you get angry, what happens to you? What happens to your body even? What happens to your face? What happens to your complex? What happens to your mind even? What happens to your heart? That's how it takes you over. For that moment, this is the beautiful part of this experience. We call it the plasticity, right? How fluid our experience is. This brain, our entire system is like that. When you are angry, you are nothing but the anger for that moment. All over yourself. So we lose our whole identities, other identities, but for that moment you become nothing but the anger. Similarly, when you are in fear, when you worry about something, same thing happens. Same thing happens. This is what we call the emotional hijack. So the amygdala is very responsible for that experience. So that is the first signal pathway in your brain. To process these signals, what signals we are talking about here? The signals that we absorb from outside world through our senses. Through our senses. All these signals are processed through our brain. So the primitive brain runs these signals through the amygdala. So that is the emotional route. But as we develop this thinking brain, this special part of our brain, to be highly advanced, intellectual. So before, the normal way is that when we experience these emotions in our amygdala and the primitive brain, afterwards we think. How we think and when we think? When everything is done. Right? So that is the unskillful, undeveloped brain. So we realize what happened after everything is done. Everything is over. So too late to fix, to do something about it. Right? So therefore, this is a special skill that we have in our brain as human beings is that before we let this initial signal pathway to take place through the amygdala, we can divert that signal pathway to go through the thinking brain. Okay? So then what happens to us is that we don't get emotional. We don't experience any negative emotions anymore. Because before it gets into the amygdala, emotional brain, we rationalize it. We have the ability to process these signal pathways in terms of our reaction even thinking beyond that, what happens to us, or what happens to others even, if I react to this emotion this way. So this is where exactly you apply the mindfulness. This is where you exactly apply the mindful awareness in your system. To divert these signal pathways to go through the thinking brain, the intellectual brain. So then you realize it. You understand the mechanism of these emotions. You understand what happens to you, what happens to others, the consequence of the way you interact with your emotions. The beautiful thing is that when you allow these signal pathways to take place through this thinking brain, it is no longer an emotion anymore. That's the beauty of it. So you don't get into any negative emotions at all. That's how you become so peaceful, so calm, so relaxed. This is a kind of evolution. Okay? This is the evolution we call the spiritual evolution. There are two types of evolutions in this universe, in this world, taking place. The first one is called the biological evolution. Biological evolution, the physical one, right? That does not require our intervention, our involvement. The physical evolution is taking place directly with the environment, right? With the survival purpose. Even the Darwin's theory proves that. How we modify different parts of our body, even animals, according to the environment, for the survival. It does not require involvement. It doesn't require your attention. It's a natural phenomenon taking place. But the spiritual evolution, there's another evolution is taking place at the same time. The evolution of consciousness, our mind, ability to think, rationalize, reason out, even to ask questions, even to modify, adjust our behavior. This does not happen automatically. That is the important thing to understand. That directly requires your conscious involvement, your effort. That directly requires your conscious effort to evolve in that direction. It doesn't happen automatically. So according to the Buddhist understanding, Buddhist teachings, we understand we evolve We are constantly evolving, physically, definitely, and consciously also we are evolving. But this spiritual evolution, according to Buddhist understanding, ends in enlightenment, we call enlightenment. So I will explain its meaning, what it means to be enlightened. Okay. So the Buddha, therefore, was a human being, the founder of Buddhism. He was born in India, and he was born into a royal family. He grew up as a prince, Prince Siddhartha, and he grew up with all luxuries as a prince. He had even 3 different palaces for different seasons. I don't think anyone today has such a facility in the world. He grew up in such luxuries, you know. So as he grew up, he observed what people are going through in the city, you know, where he was. Even though he grew up in the palace with all these luxuries as a prince, he didn't know anything about this suffering, what people are experiencing in their life. He was very ignorant to that. So father, King Suddhodana, prevented even these scenes from him, knowing, according to the predictions, this prince will leave one day, finding the truth. So therefore father was very careful not to have any of these negative aspects around him. But as he was going to his royal park, he happened to see these miseries, what people are going through. For the very first time, when he saw a sick person, and another day when he saw an old person, very weak, very feeble, cannot even walk properly, you know. And another day, seeing many people were carrying a dead body to cremate. For the very first time, he saw these things. He had so many questions in his mind. What are these things? What is this experience? What happens there? So he asked these questions from his friend, his charioteer. And then he explained, my Lord, this is exactly what happens to us too one day. We all are going to get sick, get old, and eventually we all have to die. We have to say goodbye to everybody, to everything. So this really opened up his mind. He thought, wow, if that is so, what is the meaning of living inside the palace like a prince? I should find a way out. I should find a way out to be free from these common human everlasting problems. So there he leaves the palace when he was 29. By that time he was married, he had a baby, son, but he leaves the palace making them very well understood about what he wants, with the promise that he will find a way out, you know, to be free from these problems, suffering, and I will come back to you and teach you. So he leaves the palace and he took the spiritual path. So he went to different teachers and he meditated under them, and he developed his mind up to a higher level of spirituality through the meditation practice. And after leaving these teachers, he practiced on his own. As a result of his deep spiritual practice, one day he attained enlightenment. He understood through his highly spiritual mind, concentrated mind, he was able to understand the ultimate truth, the reality of this life and the world. There he became enlightened. So still, he is a human being. So this is the beauty of his teachings. He was a human being from the beginning, and he understood the true meaning of this human life. And he completely understood the problem of this existence we call. What he realized, becoming a Buddha, fully awakened, fully enlightened one, is known as the Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths are the noble truth of unsatisfactoriness or the suffering, the negativities that we experience in our life, which is to be very complex and not easy, not so beautiful for us, not so pleasant. If you think about getting sick, getting old, and dying eventually. So the meaning of our life with all these things is a big question for us. It's a mystery for us. What happens to us? So from birth till death, we all experience some sort of suffering, some negativities in our life. So this is the thing that we want to be free from, get rid of, in order for us to be happy and peaceful. So the first noble truth of suffering, as he understood it completely within his own experience, with his own investigation, is a spiritual research. As a highly spiritual person, he understood the problem completely. What is this suffering? How these negativities are experienced? And then he realized the second noble truth. This suffering is not automatic thing. It is not coming to you from nowhere. He understood this suffering has a cause. It has a reason. Why we suffer in our life is because of emotional attachment or craving for conditions. The second noble truth he understood, he realized. Think about this situation, this reality that we experience in our life. Why we suffer, how we suffer in our life. Because we emotionally get attached to things. People, relationships, material world, these conditions, everything, to this body, our personalities. We have that strong attachment to these things. So because of that attachment, we identify ourselves with these things. It's a very complex reality that we experience. So at the same time, we have the experience of pleasure, happiness. So Buddhism doesn't deny it. We have happiness. We experience pleasure through this sensory experience. In our body, in our system, we experience it. We get excited, we get thrilled. There are experiences like that, right? So when we enjoy something, we emotionally get attached to them. That is how it happens to us. When you begin to enjoy something, you emotionally get attached to it without knowing, without realizing anything. We get naturally attached to them. So this physical body is a very huge part of that. This body, think about your life, what you call yourself, who you are. It is nothing but this body in the first place, right? Can you imagine your existence without a body, physical appearance like this? This is how you identify yourself. Therefore, we have strong attachment to this body. And you know what you do to your body, right? As you get attached to it, as you enjoy it, appreciate it. It's a very pleasant part of our experience, right? This is what happens to us when we emotionally get attached to something. So you become it. Another complex reality that happens. It becomes you. You become it. You don't see any gap there. When you begin to enjoy something, you become it. That much it gets closer to you. You get closer to that experience. Think about relationships, right? Especially in love, right? This is what they experience. They don't see any difference anymore, right? Same thing happens when you emotionally get attached to anything. What you enjoy simply becomes a part of yourself. Same with your car. How you feel when your car broke down, when somebody hit your car, or even make a scratch in your car, your new car, right? Why is it? Because that much you are attached to your car. So, your car has become a part of yourself. That's why you get hurt. Therefore, we call it your extended self is there. Your car is your extended version of yourself. That's what happens to you when you enjoy something. When you emotionally get attached to something, it becomes a part of yourself. That's why you get hurt when something happens to it, when something goes wrong to what you enjoy, right? So you see the connection here. So you suffer because of this attachment, emotional attachment. The simple example would be, how many people die in this world every day, right? But we don't suffer simply. But when somebody dies in your family, when somebody dies very close to you, maybe a family member, it is different. You feel so sad. You collapse. So many things happen to people. That is because of that attachment we can see. That's why you don't suffer when something happens to someone, somewhere in the world. You don't have that attachment to them. So we can see, we suffer because of that attachment. So people have a confusing mind when we talk about this attachment. What we are talking here is only the emotional attachment, right? People have question, hard time understanding this concept of non-attachment. How can we survive? How can we maintain relationships without attachment, right? But the problem is the emotional attachment. Because of the nature of these emotions we know. Emotions always make you blind, right? Emotions always make you blind. As I mentioned earlier, when emotional hijack is taking place, you don't have your mind to think. Your rational thinking, your mindfulness, your wisdom is no longer there. That is the problem of negative emotions. That is what we want to control. So Buddha completely understood the problem of this emotional attachment as the cause of suffering. The second noble truth. To be very practical and humanistic, as our experience. And then he completely understood, if we can completely let go of this emotional attachment, that is the way to the freedom of suffering. We can be at peace. We can be as relaxed in our mind, in our body, So you can become that instead of the emotions, the distractions of emotions. You can become such a peaceful and relaxed person by changing your inner experience. So it's simply letting go of that emotional attachment. Okay? The third noble truth he realized, if you can completely let go of this emotional attachment, you will be at peace. It is the experiential level of this transformation, conscious transformation. And then the fourth noble truth is the most important part, how to get there, how to achieve that goal. How is it possible to us to have that internal spiritual transformation within ourselves? So for that, Buddha introduces a very important, practical three disciplines. The first one is the moral discipline. Moral discipline. And second one is the cultivation of the mind. And third one is the cultivation of our wisdom. These three practices completes the spiritual journey. And one would complete the spiritual journey attaining the enlightenment. Enlightenment is that perfect understanding about these Four Noble Truths and nothing else. And making it possible, actualizing these theories, these teachings with the self-experience, okay, Four Noble Truths. So the basic understanding here that our happiness is something internal to us. It is in our mind. This is the most important transforming moment within this realization. To understand that our happiness is something internal, in our mind. This is the basic teaching of the Buddha. It explains, Mano Pubbangama Dhamma. Mind is the forerunner. Mind goes in the front, before anything else within our experience. Mind is the forerunner. Mano Pubbangama Dhamma, Mano Setta Manomaya. The mind is the chief. Mind is the most important part of our experience because it is where we experience everything eventually. No matter what it is, where it is. If it is to be a part of yourself, it has to go through your consciousness, your mind. So mind is the chief, therefore. And another beautiful explanation here is that everything is mind-made. Everything is mind-made. What we experience in our life is the experience in our mind. This is what today we understand that. What we experience out there. What we experience in my life, in the world, is eventually a creation of my brain. Eventually it is a creation of my brain. It's a very complex teaching, reality, the science today. People are talking about it, very important. So with that understanding, we take the discipline of our mind. So this is where we understand the very healthy two approaches. Today they identify, in terms of controlling our emotions, either we suppress them or we express our emotions. But in Buddhism, with this understanding, we understand, we encourage people to not to suppress them, not to express your emotions even, because they both have negative consequences in different ways, but to realize them. Realize your emotions. That's what we call the emotional intelligence even. That is the way to real peace and happiness. Yes.
I have a question. We've run out of time.
Right.
We've run out of time.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So
So that's, yeah.
Okay, thank you very, very much.
Yes, that's in the presentation. Thank you very much. All right.
I hope you'll join us for our gathering afterwards. Thank you. Oh, go ahead. Many things here are very compatible with humanistic ideas and worthy of exploration. We're going to conclude tonight with Hine Matov.
Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Behold how good it is when people dwell together, living as one people, hand in hand. What keeps us safe and strong is that we have each other, one human family across the land. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. I want to thank Joseph for the beautiful music, David for the streaming, Arthur for the slides, Mark and Bhante, thank you very much for the enlightenment. And please join us for our Oneg Shabbat